Yo, good morning. Good morning, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. Freedom marchers, freedom family, freedom lovers of freedom. Snapzilla Gorilla here. At the definition, welcome to Freedom's March. Coming at y'all with this quick live stream. This is kind of a continuation from the live stream I did yesterday when discussing the tariffs Donald Trump is placing on different countries. But this is going to be an upgrade. I wanted to get into what he was placing the tariffs on and whether or not we should be concerned about said tariffs. Right? That's what I wanted to discuss. Because yesterday I was making the argument that the things that Trump, the items, the material and whatnot that Trump is placing tariffs on is not a necessity to the individual in this country, to the individual human beings in this country, to, us individuals. Like, if you look at your day-to-day life and what you need to survive, what you need strictly to survive, what the tariffs affect, it does not affect that, right? What the tariffs hit, it does not affect that. So I wanted to get into that even further today, because I found out that Trump was threatening a huge 200% tariff against the European Union, right? Countries within the EU. And when you find out what he's placing tariffs on, it's kind of like, Well, what he plans on hitting these countries with tariffs on is alcohol, basically, liquor and wine, right? So Donald Trump is threatening to place tariffs against the European Union for wine, alcohol, liquor, you know what I'm saying? That type of shit. Okay, right? 200% on that. Now, when you think about it, who needs for us to have that alcohol more from Europe, from that European liquor, that European wine? Who is going to be more harmed by that, right? Who needs us to have that alcohol more than the other? What's good? Midnight. Now, is it that, do we need alcohol imported from Europe? Is that a necessity for us? Is it even a luxury that we, that we can't have in this country itself? Do we not produce alcohol in this country? Do we not have wine that comes out of California? Now, people might not like that wine, but I think you'll be okay. Yeah, I think you'll be okay. People that drink wine like that and really want that expensive wine, that really wants that good wine, you're just gonna have to pay more for it, apparently, right? And I want us to really think about that. When you think about what they're placing tariffs on, I want you to look at the products that you buy. And when you look at the products that you buy, I want you to look at the country it's made in. And I want you to think about, do I really need this shit? We're mad at Trump, right? We're mad at Trump because prices are going to go up. And they're trying to convince you that the price of food is going to go up because of the tariffs. Well, how is that? When we can get food right here in this country. What are we talking about? See, that's the lie, right? They want to blame the price of eggs on tariffs. They want to blame the price of bacon on tariffs. They want to, unless you're getting pork from Spain, unless you're getting that good old that delicious, I forgot what it's called exactly. The pork, what is that pork called? It's raised in Spain, these pigs, and they eat acorn and fruit, and that's all they eat. and it produces delicious meat, very delicious, right? All those pigs in Spain eat are fruit and acorn, and they taste delicious, right? It tastes delicious. And guess what? You don't even need to cook it all the way, right? You can eat it rare. That's how good this pork is. And I would pay a little bit more for that if I really want it. I know a place that sells it. But do I need that? Do I need that? If I enjoy bacon, do I need to get that bacon from that specific pig? No, I don't. If I enjoy wine, do I need to get wine from France or Italy? Or can I make do with California wine? Liquor. Do I need to get liquor from Europe? Or can I just, get some shit from Tennessee? They make liquor right in Tennessee. We got countries in the Caribbean that rum, tequila, right? You can get tequila, you get Tito's from right here in the United States. It's alcohol, right? Steel, raw materials for medicine, right? The raw product. But it's not something that we can't produce right here in the United States. This is what I'm trying to implore upon you. That's what I'm trying to impress upon you guys. We don't need none of this shit that he's placing tariffs on. And he knows that. He knows that. Think about it. Because I'm coming from the point of view of a statist, right? If I were a statist, if I were not an anarchist, if I did not believe in 100% freedom, if I believed in government, if I believed in government rulership, if I believed in that nonsense, well, I would, of course, be a conservative, right? I wouldn't be a Republican, but I'd be a conservative. I wouldn't be one of those, I wouldn't be a Brandon Tatum type conservative. You know what I'm saying? Miss me with that bullshit. I wouldn't be an Anthony Bryan Logan type conservative, but at the end of the day, I am a conservative at heart, right? But I'm a black conservative, a real black conservative, not a fake black conservative that licked the balls of the police and goddamn, try to make white people feel comfortable with them. No, I don't give a fuck if a white person is comfortable with me. If you don't like my ass, I don't give a hot fuck. When I see racism, I'm gonna call it out. But I'm not a conservative in politics. I'm not a Republican. I am an anarchist. And what that means is, what it means being an anarchist is no rulers, no authority, or no authoritative individuals, I'll say. I don't believe in that, because once you give people authority over your own life and over the masses' lives, they're 100% always going to take advantage of it, right? But if I'm thinking from the mind of a statist who believes in that bullshit, that believes in democracy and that believes in the republic, well, I'm riding with Trump on this. And people are concerned about economic downturns. Well, we just lived through 3 years of an economic downturn, thanks to Joey B, who maintained a lot of the tariffs that Donald Trump put in place, right? But maybe we need a push. Maybe we need the push to stop spending our money on bullshit, right? Because the idea is, if they place tariffs on these countries, right, then we're going to have to pay for it out of our own pockets. We're going to have to pay more for it. They're going to charge more for what they are importing, for what they are trading with us. Because make no mistake, we're in a trade war. We're in a trade war. And people think, like I said yesterday, people think a tariff is a tax. It's not a tax. What it is a discount, right? Because we're paying them for their goods a certain amount. Well, when Donald Trump places a 25% tariff on it, that means that they have to pay us 25% of what we pay them. They got to give it back to us, which basically means that we get 25% off. Now I don't know how 200% tariff is gonna work. That means they'd have to pay us to sell us their shit. You know, I don't know. It doesn't really make sense to me. How do you a 200% tariff? That's not even realistic, right? Because again, like I said, they want to sell us their wine. They want to import that shit. Well, they have to pay the piper, right? But anyway, I don't know, import fees. I don't fucking know. 200%. Maybe they just stop selling it. Maybe they stop importing it. But that's going to affect their pockets. And that's what Donald Trump is seeing, right? He thinks, well, we make up a huge market for these people. Their economy thrives on the U.S. accepting their imports. Well, we're going to make them pay for that because we're getting ripped off. That's what he believes. He believes we're getting ripped off. And so he wants to make sure that we're not getting ripped off. So he's going to put a tariff on it. And that's just what the idea is. But if they stop importing, well, they're going to take a huge hit. So they can think about, well, we can stop importing to the U.S. and we're going to lose a huge market, right? Because if we know anything about the U.S., they love to consume. Consumerism in the United States is at all-time highs. It will remain that. We consume the most of any country, right? We love consumerism. We just love to buy shit that we don't need. We just love to buy shit we don't need, and they understand that. So we're a huge market. Well, they're going to pay the tariffs, but then they're going to retaliate with their own tariffs. Well, what does that do? At the end of the day, it's a wash. Because do we need to import to other countries? Do we need to export? Is our economy reliant on that? On us exporting our goods? No, not necessarily. Because think about this. If we're exporting oil, if we're producing enough oil to export, we're going to charge less than OPEC, right? We're not going to charge as much as OPEC. So even if they hit us with the tariffs, well, they're going to have to pay more to OPEC. So guess what? We can stop sending you the oil. You're going to have to pay even more money to OPEC to get the oil. Or you can stop playing games and try and hit us with retaliatory tariffs and get this shit popping, right? So if we're concerned about, oh, well, prices are going to go up, I want us to think about who's going to take advantage, right? Who's taking advantage of these tariffs and going to artificially inflate their prices based on the tariffs, right? So let's say you have goods that are produced. As a matter of fact, I'm in a construction field, right? We buy a lot of copper. In my field, I'm an electrician, right? I work for an electrical contractor. I'm a superintendent / QA/QC quality assurance guy with a large electrical contractor. We buy copper. We buy a shitload of copper, of course. And we buy steel for conduit. We buy conduit, which is made of steel. We buy all kind of shit. And, we can extract copper we extract copper from right here in the United States, but they also import copper from other countries. And so there's a high demand for copper because of, the infrastructure bill and all the building that we're doing, trying to improve the infrastructure, all the factories that we're building to produce these batteries and, for electrical cars and all these solar panels and all this shit and all this infrastructure shit. We need a lot of steel. We need a lot of copper, right? Of course, because copper is the best conductor for the price, right? It's the best electrical conductor. Well, we were talking about the tariffs in a meeting, and they were saying that copper prices are going to go up because the companies that import the copper that are getting hit with the tariffs are obviously going to raise their prices. But Also, the companies that produce the copper right here in the United States are also going to artificially inflate their prices to take advantage of what the tariffs are going to do, right? So now, obviously, they're not going to raise the prices as much as the foreign countries or the foreign companies, but they're going to raise the prices and they're going to blame it on the tariffs, even though, why would they're not getting tariffed. They're not getting hit with tariffs. They're making the shit right here in the United States. And that's what's being encouraged. It's being encouraged for us to manufacture right here in the United States, which I agree with. If we want to be such huge consumers and we don't want to let go of all these things that we don't need, okay, well, let's try our best to produce this shit right here in this country, right? What's good, you guys? Stephen S. was good with you. Mom Chill M. We're not talking about that type of shit. That's not what this live stream is about. Forget about alcohol, but major crops like potatoes and tomatoes are imported from Mexico. So, what? Potatoes and tomatoes. So you don't think we're getting ripped off? Okay, ASAP Anime. Let me ask you a question. When have we not been getting ripped off? Now, I'm not hitting you with the sunken cost fallacy, right? I'm not doing that. What I'm trying to impress upon you is that we have been getting ripped off. We have been getting ripped off, and they want to present this idea that you're going to continue to get ripped off, or you're going to get ripped off more because of the tariffs. Well, that's a little bit short-sighted, because there's a goal in mind with that, right? Because even the companies that take advantage of the imports that they get from other countries, well, they're going to get hit too, and they're going to be encouraged to produce right here in the United States. That is one of the ideas, right? But it also is supposed to save us money so that we can pay debt down and all that type of shit, so that our children and our children's children and our children's children aren't paying for the debt, right? Because we're not paying the debt down right now. Our future progeny are going to have to pay down all this debt, and we're trying to reduce the debt, right? We're trying to reduce the debt by saving money, by cutting, all this wild spending that we have been doing for decades. We've been getting ripped off for over 100 years by the government of this country. Do I want to play Minecraft? No, I do not. So in regards to potatoes and tomatoes, they grow potatoes in Idaho, right? They grow potatoes in California. You can grow potatoes in your backyard in a 5-gallon Walmart bucket, or a 5-gallon goddamn Lowe's bucket. You can get a Lowe's bucket or a Home Depot bucket, put some dirt in that bitch, throw a potato in that bitch, and grow more potatoes. You can grow your own tomatoes. You can grow cucumbers. You can grow watermelon right in your motherfucking backyard. Why do we need to get this shit? This is what I'm talking about. Potatoes and tomatoes? What? Potatoes and tomatoes. That's your concern with with the tariffs, is that you're going to have to pay more for potatoes and tomatoes. I don't know what to tell you. You know what I'm saying? I don't know what to tell you. $4 trillion in tax cuts doesn't reduce the debt. Well, yes, it does. What do you mean $4 trillion in tax cuts doesn't reduce the debt? Republicans for 2022, the election never stopped egg prices. Okay. Egg prices were going up before Donald Trump became president. This is what I'm talking about. Egg prices. You can find a local chicken grower, right? I don't want to call them ranchers, because a lot of these egg people, the people that have eggs, they have nice sized backyards, and they got chickens running around, and they live in a zone where they don't have to worry about farm animals and all this other shit, farm animal restrictions. You find somebody and get a $5 carton of eggs. There are plenty of people growing chickens that lay eggs. You just got to get the plug on them. I got a plug on eggs. $5 a carton. Used to be $3, but it was $3 for 2 years. But no, yeah, of course we're getting ripped off. Do you get taxed? Do they take taxes out of your paycheck? Of course you're getting ripped off. You're being extorted by the government. You're gonna get ripped off as long as this government is in place. How does collecting less money? So you're talking about tax cuts for the individual. How does it reduce debt? Well, you cut shit that you don't need from budgets. That's what you do. And if you're cutting a bunch of bullshit that our extortion money is going to, why would they need to tax us as much? So what you're doing is you're cutting bullshit programs that trillions of dollars are going into, right? So let's say you make cuts that result in $10 trillion of savings, and you cut $3 trillion in taxes for the people. What is 10 million minus 7 million, minus 3 million? It's $7 trillion. So there you have $7 trillion that can go towards paying down the debt. What do you mean? If you're cutting retarded funding that is not necessary, right? If you're cutting down on government bureaucracies, if you're cutting down on government agencies, if you're eliminating a lot of shit that we're spending money on, why would we not get tax cuts as well as reduce the debt? Make it make sense. Queen Sister Cameron, how you doing this morning? Taxes aren't budget. Taxes aren't budget. What does that mean? Taxes aren't budget? So you're telling me that I'm poorly educated, but you just wrote taxes aren't budget. Manly Belch. Okay. Going to answer how less taxes make for more money. See, I want you guys to look at this person who calls himself Cart Reezy. He wants us to continue to get extorted. And he's asking me, how does cutting down on the extortion pay off debt? I just told you. If you reduce spending, greatly, right? Cut out the bullshit. That results in what? You having to extort your citizens as much. So you reduce the extortion and you reduce the spending. You take the difference of what you saved from what you're extorting from the people, and you use that to pay down the debt. Because we are spending more than we're getting taxed. And that's why our children and our children's children are going to have to pay down the debt that we have in existence today. But if you cut down on the spending that is contributing to that debt, you cut down on the spending that contributes to that debt, and it results in you being able to help cut income tax for the individual and still have money left over to pay down some debt. That's how that works. See, there has to be a catalyst, right? You think this shit happens out of osmosis? You think, oh, well, let's cut taxes. Let's cut the people's taxes. And all of a sudden, the debt gets paid down. Who said that? No, you reduce spending. You produce more, right? Like oil, right? You spend more money right? If you focus on extracting the resources we have right here in this country to the point where we have a surplus and we can start to export, guess what that does as well? You can use that funding, you can use that money to pay down the debt. And guess what? With the tariffs, with spending less money on bullshit and exporting goods, guess what that can go towards? We would not need to tax the individual or extort the individual as much if we're doing all that. I mean, we can't be serious right now. Queen Mother Shakila, how you doing? Halo Madness, what do you, Trillion, why are you questioning Trillion? Trillion, what do you mean? I mean, are we really not getting this, y'all? If, let's say I have $300,000 worth of debt, right? I have $300,000 worth of debt. If I want to cut down on that debt, I have to do certain things. If I'm selling goods to somebody, or let's say I'm extorting somebody. I'm $300,000 in debt, and I'm extorting that liquor store because I'm a tough guy, right? Excuse me. I'm extorting that liquor store owner, and the extortion results in I get $100,000 a year extorting this guy, right? But every year I'm extorting him for $100,000, but every year I have $100,000 in debt added to my overall debt. So even though I'm extorting him for $100,000, the spending I'm doing is resulting in $200,000 in debt every year. $100,000 from the guy I'm extorting goes towards that, which means I have a deficit of $100,000. You understand? Y'all following me? So I do that every year. Every year there's another $100,000. There's another $100,000 going into a deficit. Every year, I'm adding $100,000 to the deficit. And in 10 years, I have 10, what is 10 times 100,000? 100,000. Okay, because I don't feel like doing all the breaking down, right? After 10 years of spending and collecting extortion, I'm spending and I'm collecting the extortion money. Spending and collecting extortion money. I'm getting $100,000. I'm spending $200,000 every year for 10 years. That results in $1 million worth of debt. I have a $1 million deficit, right? So now I'm left with $1 million deficit after 10 years, and I'm still extorting this guy for $100,000 every year. As a matter of fact, it might go up, or it might go down, whatever. Well, I decide, you know what? I'm going to stop spending as much money. Instead of spending $100,000 a year or $200,000 a year, I'm going to spend $90,000 a year or $70,000 a year because I'm cutting out the bullshit. I'm going to stop spending this. I'm going to sell more. I'm going to sell a product. So guess what? Now, what that results in is now I'm overall spending is $70,000, right? So instead of spending $200,000 and collecting $100,000, I'm now my net spending is $70,000, and I'm still collecting $100,000. Well, now I have a surplus of $30,000 a year. Well, I'm going to give this guy a break who's giving me $100,000. So instead of collecting $100,000 a year from this guy that I'm extorting, I'm going to collect $80,000. So I still have a $10,000 surplus each year that I'm extorting this guy because I'm only spending $70,000. But I'm not just getting the $10,000 from him, from what I am doing, right? I'm selling shit, I'm producing shit, I'm making more money. Now, that $70,000 net spending goes up against $10,000 that the extra $10,000, the $80,000 I'm extorting from him, which gives me a $10,000 surplus just from his extortion money and my what I'm spending, plus another 100,000, 200,000 from what I'm doing to earn more money. Why would I need to continue to tax this motherfucker $100,000 when I'm making my own money? I have reduced my spending, and I want to continue to have him pay me and gives him some encouragement and allow him to believe that I appreciate what he's doing. So I'm going to reduce his debt. I'm going to reduce his extortion. Why would I not do that? Why would I continue to extort him from $100,000 so that eventually he rebels against me and says, I ain't giving you shit. Now I ain't getting no money from him. I got to intimidate him. I got to do all this silly shit. No, why not just reduce my extortion? I can reduce the extortion money. I'm still getting 10,000, but I found a way to earn more money. I'm not going to be greedy. I'm not going to continue to extort all these motherfuckers for as much if I don't need to, if I can show them that I'm responsible with the money that they are giving me, and that, look, the services I provide, they're going to increase. Your spending is going to go down. It's probably going to take a little time because of this, that, and the third. Kawhi Elliott, I appreciate you. Yes, please hit the like button. So, yes, I'm going to reduce the taxes. If I am saving money, right? If I'm reducing spending, right? If I reduce spending and export more and earn the country more money, right? Then of course I'm going to cut taxes. Why would I not? See, a lot of us, we think small because we don't like somebody. Oh, I don't like Donald Trump, so everything he does is retarded, right? No. If Donald Trump cuts income tax, that's a wonderful thing. That's what needs to happen. Because before, right, I think it was back in the mid 1900s, the government was getting its money from tariffs from other countries. They did not have income tax. No, they were getting money from other countries, in trade deals and all that, from exports and imports, tariffs on their imports and all that type of shit. That's how it worked. Well, if they eliminate income tax, they can still get money in other ways, right? Because the government is going to government. They're going to go around and intimidate other countries and act like, y'all know what the government does. Yeah. But people like this Cart Reezy, they feel like, oh yeah, we should get taxed. We should get extorted. Yeah. No, that's not how it should work. No. What am I getting extorted for? If you're spending my money on bullshit. No, stop spending the money on bullshit and act like what our money is going to is doing something that shows results in a positive way to the people, and then cut the fucking taxes because it's not necessary. Income tax is not necessary if you do other things, right? What it means though is smaller government, which is the smaller the government, the better. So smaller government, the better, right? And what our money goes to is more legit and more important and more immediately beneficial. Because the shit our government is spending money on now is not nearly beneficial to us. No, it's beneficial to It's beneficial to the corporate welfare recipients. That's who it's beneficial to. It's beneficial to the bankers. It's beneficial to foreign countries that don't do shit for us. Don't do shit for us. Those countries, they do shit for our elite, the elite class of this country that runs this shit, but they don't do shit for us. So we need to get out of this mind state that, we have to be productive citizens and we gotta pay our dues, and no, fuck out of here with that shit. You know what I mean? No, I don't owe this government shit. But I exist within the society that the government runs. So at this point in time, I have to deal with it in the way I have to. And that's just how it works. Am I for states' rights? No. I'm for individual rights. Individual rights, individual freedom. But you can start with state rights, eliminate central government, break it down to individual states, and then from there you break it down even further to individual municipalities, individual counties, individual communities, individual people, individual families. And people can voluntarily participate in whatever they choose to. So if they want to go to this community over here who believes in democracy and believes in the majority voting for whatever happens, they can go over there. If you want to go over here with these with these Quakers or these goddamn pilgrims or whatever the fuck you want to do, that's eventually what would be ideal, right? Your small tribe, your small community operates the way it wants to operate, with everyone within it choosing to participate within that community, and they have to get down with how that community works. If they don't want to get down with that, well, they move on and they find a community that they align with more, or they go off and do their own thing. They stake out their own land. They fend for themselves. However they want to fucking do it. But the way it is now is not working. It doesn't work. Anyway, y'all, I gotta get up here in this appointment. So no, not state rights, individual rights, but we can start with state rights and break it down from there. There has to be a progression. It can't just be immediate. It has to make sense. It has to break down appropriately, right? Piece by piece. Otherwise, we'll be vulnerable to hostile countries. We'll be vulnerable to, excuse me, we'd be much too vulnerable to people that would take advantage of, no, it has to happen. It has to make sense. But anyway, thank you guys for coming through. Thanks for hitting that like button. Thanks for liking, sharing, subscribing. And we'll keep marching forward toward freedom. Peace.